48, verse 1, concerning Moab, thus says the Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, woe to Nebo, for it has been destroyed. Kiriathaim has been put to shame and has been captured. The lofty stronghold has been put to shame and shattered. Now, Nebo, that was a mountain and a town of Moab, and its meaning is that which bears fruit. And Kiriathaim was a city of Moab. It actually consisted of two cities. And as I was showing you here, these kingdoms of Ammon and Moab and Edom, we're going to talk about them this evening, they are a part of Jordan now, and Jordan is an Arab state. It is, they're really Arab Jordanians is what they are. Yeah, Air Jordans, there you go. Verse 2, there is praise from Moab no longer. In Heshbon they have devised calamity against her. Come and let us cut her off from being a nation. You too, madmen, will be silenced. The sword will follow after you. Heshbon was the chief city in Moab. The Babylonian army is just devastated these cities in Moab. Verse 3, the sound of an outcry from Horonaim, devastation and great destruction. Moab is broken. Her little ones have sounded out a cry of distress. For by the ascent of Luhith they will ascend with continual weeping. For at the descent of Horonaim they have heard the anguish cry of destruction. So these Moabite cities that we pointed out here, Horonaim and Luhith and Heshbon, I've got those up there in green. They were completely devastated. And a lot of the cities from Moab, we don't even know where they're located exactly. They were so utterly destroyed by the Babylonians. Verses 6 and 7, flee, save your lives, that you may be like a juniper in the wilderness. For because of your trust in your own achievements and treasures, even you yourselves will be captured. And Chemosh will go off into exile together with his priests and his princes. Okay, let's talk about Chemosh. You know, what do you know about Chemosh? Anything? What is Chemosh? It's not a city. Not a city. Chemosh is their pagan god of Moab. And in Torah, the Moabites are called the people of Chemosh. That's in Numbers 21, verse 29. Woe to you, O Moab, you are ruined, O people of Chemosh. He has given his sons as fugitives and his daughters into captivity to an Amorite king, Sihon. Now, Chemosh means the powerful. And what I want to do here for just a minute is take some of the confusion away from these gods that they talk about in Scripture. Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Molech, the god of the Ammonites, are the same god. Okay, they just referred to them as, they use little different names. I said Chemosh means the powerful. Molech, what does Molech mean? Does the term Melech mean anything to you? It means king. And Molech, it means king. So you mean the powerful and the king, okay? That's just the terms they use to describe them. The god of the Ammonites is the same god worshipped by two different peoples. Now, Jephthah is speaking to the king of Ammon, and the Ammonite god is Molech. But in Judges 11:24, he says, do you not possess what Chemosh, your God, gives you to possess? So whatever Yahweh or Elohim has driven out before us, we will possess it. So Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, means the powerful. Molech, the god of the Ammonites, means king. But here, Chemosh is used to refer to the god of the Ammonites. It's the same God. Now, we see here, they're saying that Chemosh, the Moabite god, and Molech, the Ammonite god, were worshipped as Baal by the Israelites when they were apostate. The Moabites and the Ammonites had an ancient hatred of Israel that extends from the time that Israel left Egypt. Israel had to cross the Moabite and Ammonite land to get into the Promised Land. The Moabites and the Ammonites both are descendants of Lot and are today among the Palestinians, and I would say also probably the Jordanians more so. Now, Baal, what does Baal mean? Lord. That's what Baal means. Actually, the word is translated as Lord in in the Tanakh in many places. So we have Baal means Lord, Moloch means king, and Chemosh means the powerful. It's just three ways of saying pretty much the same thing. So don't be too confused. They're not really different gods. They're all the same God they were worshiping. Baal was the god of fertility, weather, rain, wind, lightning, seasons, war, patron of sailors and seagoing merchants, leader of the Rephaim, which is ancestral spirits. And later on, Baal was called the king of gods. What's Moloch mean again? King. So don't let these confuse you too much. Just because they have different names doesn't mean it's entirely different gods at all. You have people with different languages, different references that mean the same thing. In Jeremiah 48, verse 8, and a destroyer will come to every city so that no city will escape. The valley also will be ruined, and the plateau will be destroyed, as Yahweh has said. All the Moabite cities will be destroyed. Elohim will send a destroyer to them. And who's that destroyer? It's Babylon. Now, the term destroyer is interesting. There is a passage in Revelation chapter 9, and let's take a look at it. It's in Revelation 9. The first two verses read like this. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star from heaven which had fallen to the earth, and the key of the bottomless pit was given to him. And he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke went up out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. Now, these aren't really hard to understand. When it says bottomless pit, the term is also translated as abyss. And symbolically, it refers to an area that a nation cannot escape from. And there are other passages in Scripture that back that up. So we have, the keys are given to this bottomless pit, and it's opened up. And apparently the nation is allowed to escape. In this case, it's the Roman Empire, is what it's referring to. And the Roman Empire spread. And what they did, they colonized the majority of the world. You've heard that the sun never sets on the British Empire. That's what this is referring to. And it goes on down, and they have as king over them the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in the Greek, he has the name Apollyon. Let's take a look at those two words and see what they mean. It means destroying angel, a destroyer. Abaddon and Apollyon means a destroyer, the same thing. And we just read the destroyer in this case with Moab is Babylon. In this case, it's the Roman Empire. And then it's going to go in and discuss World War II. A destroyer is one whom Elohim sends to punish whomever he wishes. There's nothing mystical about it. There's no super, mighty spiritual ghost behind this. It's how Elohim works. Does that make sense? And you can go to, like I said, you go to Jeremiah here and you find out what is meant by Abaddon and Apollyon. It just means a nation that Elohim uses to, or an empire that Elohim uses to judge. Let's go to verses 9 and 10. Give wings to Moab, for she will flee away, and her cities will become a desolation, without inhabitants in them. Cursed be the one who does Yahweh's work negligently, and cursed be the one who restrains his sword from blood. Well, Elohim, this enemy that Elohim's sending to destroy Moab, they won't be negligent in their duty. Okay? Babylon is going to be very efficient in their judgment. Verse 11. Moab has been at ease since his youth. He's also been undisturbed on his lees. Neither has he been emptied from vessel to vessel, nor has he gone into exile. Therefore he retains his flavor, and his aroma has not changed. So that's, once again, this is symbolic of the way he's discussing things here. Moab has never been emptied from vessel to vessel in their history up to that time. What that means is they've never been taken captive from their native land. Okay, they've never been poured from one vessel into another. It's never happened in their time. They've been there. And then it goes into kind of like a winemaking discussion here. When wine ferments, it settles in dregs in order to achieve its highest strength and highest flavor. The Moabites have retained their flavor and aroma, is what Elohim's describing here. They're now going to be poured into a new vessel. Moab will not only be poured out, but her vessels will then be smashed. Her people will be sold into slavery and exiled from the homeland, and this will shatter their trust in their pagan deity, Chemosh. Verses 12 and 13. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, when I shall send to him those who tip vessels, and they'll tip him over, and they'll empty his vessels and shatter his jars. And Moab will be ashamed of Chemosh, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel, their confidence. So Moab is going to go into captivity for the first time. The people will be taken, the cities will be utterly destroyed. Then they'll see that their god Chemosh was only a worthless rock. Verse 14. How can you say we're mighty warriors and men valiant for battle? Moab has been destroyed, and men have gone up to his cities. His choicest young men have also gone down to the slaughter, declares the king, whose name is the Yahweh of hosts. The disaster of Moab will soon come, and his calamity has swiftly hastened. Mourn for him, all you who live around him, even all of you who know his name. Say, how has the mighty scepter been broken, a staff of splendor? Well, Moab, the thing is, they were once a mighty nation, okay? And that is going to very soon change. Verse 18, come down from your glory and sit on the parched ground, O daughter dwelling in Dibon. For the destroyer of Moab has come against you. He has ruined your strongholds. Stand by the road and keep watch, O inhabitant of Aroer. Ask him who flees and her who escapes, and say, what has happened? Moab has been put to shame, for it's been shattered. Wail and cry out. Declare by the Arnon that Moab has been destroyed. So Moab, they're going to be put to shame. It's written here. They're going to be taken totally by surprise, and they're going to look at what happened with their hands on their hips and say, what happened here? It's going to be utterly devastating. Verse 21. Judgment has also come upon the plain, upon Holon, Jazah, and against Mephath, against Dibon, Nebo, and Beth Diblathaim, and against Kiriathaim, Beth Gemuel, and Beth Meon, against Kirioth Basra and all the cities of the land of Moab, far and near. All the cities of Moab are going to be destroyed. Every one of them. Not one will remain. Verse 25, the horn of Moab has been cut off and his arm broken, declares Yahweh. Make him drunk, for he's become arrogant toward Yahweh. So Moab will wallow in his vomit, and he also will become a laughingstock. Now, was not Israel a laughingstock to you? Or was he caught among thieves? For each time you speak about him, you shake your head in scorn. See, Moab became very arrogant. They claimed that their God was mightier than Elohim, and they laughed at Israel. Elohim does not let nations get away with making Israel a laughingstock, and that still holds true today. Verse 28, leave the cities and dwell among the crags, O inhabitants of Moab, and be like a dove that nests beyond the mouth of the chasm. We've heard of the pride of Moab. He's very proud. Of his haughtiness, his pride, his arrogance, and his self-exaltation. I know his fury, declares Yahweh, but it is futile. His idle boasts have accomplished nothing. So he describes Moab as proud, haughty, arrogant. The great opinion they have of themselves. It's going to amount to nothing. Verse 31. Therefore I shall wail for Moab. Even for all Moab shall I cry out. I will moan for the men of Kir-Heres. More than the weeping for Yazer, I shall weep for you, O vine of Sibmah. Your tendrils stretched across the sea. They reach to the sea of Yazer. Upon your summer fruits and your grape harvest, the destroyer has fallen. So gladness and joy are taken away from the fruitful field, even from the land of Moab. And I made the wine to cease from wine presses. No one will tread them with shouting. The shouting will not be shouts of joy. So Jeremiah's talking here, and he says he's not going to be happy over this destruction. But they won't be weeping as much as the Moabites will be. Verse 34. From the cry at Heshbon even to Elilah, even to Jehez, they have raised their voice. From Zoar, even to Horonaim, and to Eglath Shalishiyah. For even the waters of Nimrim will become desolate. And I shall make an end of Moab, declares Yahweh, the one who offers sacrifice on the high place, and the one who burns incense to his gods. Therefore my heart wails for Moab like flutes. My heart also wails like flutes for the men of Ker-Herez. Therefore they have lost the abundance it produced. Now the land of the Moabites, the land they inhabited, was very plentiful. The Moabites were eventually absorbed into the Arab people. As we talked about, the land is now occupied by the Jordanian Arabs, who are apparently descendants of the Moabites and other ancient pagan peoples. Although the ancient Moabites might instead, it could be Palestinian Arabs too, but I believe it's more Jordanian Arabs. Verse 37, for every head is bald and every beard cut short. There are gashes on all the hands and sackcloth on the loins. On all the housetops of Moab and in its streets there is lamentation everywhere. For I've broken Moab like an undesirable vessel, declares Yahweh. How shattered it is! How they have wailed! How Moab has turned his back! He's ashamed. So Moab will become a laughingstock and an object of terror to all around him. Moab is spoken of in the past tense here as if they were already destroyed at the time Jeremiah gives this prophecy. At one time, Moab made Israel a laughingstock. Now Moab will be the laughingstock as well as a terror to all the people. And by a terror to all the people, when they see what happens to them, the people are going to be terrified. Verse 40, for thus says Yahweh, behold, one will fly swiftly like an eagle and spread out his wings against Moab. Kerioth has been captured, and the strongholds have been seized. So the hearts of the mighty men of Moab in that day will be like the heart of a woman in labor. And Moab will be destroyed from being a people because he has become arrogant toward Yahweh. Because of the arrogance of Moab toward Elohim, he'll make their mighty men as dangerous as a woman in labor. What's that?
Who is bringing all this destruction on Moab?
Elohim. Yeah, he's bringing it all. With Babylon. Yep, he used Babylon to do it.
Were the Babylonians Muslim?
Not then. There weren't any. They're pre-Muslim. Yeah, they are now.
I got you.
Verse 43, terror, pit, and snare are coming upon you, O inhabitant of Moab, declares Yahweh. The one who flees from the terror will fall into the pit, and the one who climbs up out of the pit will be caught in the snare. For I shall bring upon her, even upon Moab, the year of their punishment, declares Yahweh. So the punishment of Moab, going to be ugly. None will escape death or captivity. That's it. That's their two options. Verse 45, in the shadow of Heshbon, the fugitives stand without strength. For a fire has gone forth from Heshbon, and a flame from the midst of Sihon. And it has devoured the forehead of Moab and the scalps of the riotous revelers. Woe to you, Moab, the people of Chemosh have perished. For your sons have been taken away captive, and your daughters into captivity. 47, very interesting. Yet I will restore the fortunes of Moab in the latter days, declares Yahweh. Thus far the judgment on Moab. Going to restore the fortunes of Moab. What are they now? They're Jordan. They're the country of Jordan now. They're Arabs.
Is Jordan wealthy?
No. The Arabs, some of the Arabs are. They have two classes, the extremely rich and the dirt poor. So, and the Jordanians are a part of that. And probably the Palestinians also. That's how they've been restored in the latter days. They've been raised up with Arabia. And let's see, we're going to be talking about, that was Moab, also Ammon and Edom are going to be discussed here. And as you can see, that's same thing as the area of Jordan now. And Syria, which is another Arab state, and Lebanon, which is another one, Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Dubai, well, it's not on this.
Okay, so it's not right in that area.
No, it's not right in that area. Let's go to chapter 49, verse 1. Concerning the sons of Ammon, thus says Yahweh, does Israel have no sons, or has he no heirs? Why then has Malcolm taken possession of Gad, and his people settled in its cities? Okay, Ammon. Do you remember where Ammon came from? You remember Lot? He thought the world was, and his two daughters, they thought the world was going to be destroyed. They thought the world was destroyed. Well, Ammon is a result of this incestuous relationship between Lot and one of his daughters. And that's in Genesis 19, starting at verse 31. And once again, they thought the world was destroyed. They were just left Sodom and Gomorrah. They thought the whole world was destroyed. Then the firstborn said to the younger, our father is old, and there's not a man on earth to come in to us after the manner of the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine. Let us lie with him, that we may preserve our family through our father. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. And it came about on the morrow that the firstborn said to the younger, behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine tonight also. Then you go in and lie with him, that we may preserve our family through our father. So they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him. And he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot were with child by their father. And the firstborn bore a son and called his name Moab. He's the father of the Moabites to this day. And as for the younger, she also bore a son and called his name Ben-Ami, for he's the father of the sons of Ammon to this day. So that's where the Ammonites and the Moabites came from, an incestuous relationship between Lot and his two daughters, and they became big enemies of Israel. And guess what? They still are to this day. Now, the Ammonites. Let's look and make sure who they are today. I looked it up at palestineinfo.co.uk, where we read, reliable historians believe that the Ammonites, the Canaanites, and the Yebusians and the Phoenicians had come from the Arab Peninsula, and that the majority of the current population of Palestine, especially the villagers, are the offspring of those old tribes and peoples, or the Arab and Muslims who settled there after the Muslim conquest. So there you go. They're Arabs. Verse 2 of Jeremiah 49. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, that I shall cause a trumpet blast of war to be heard against Rabbah of the sons of Ammon, and it will become a desolate heap, and her towns will be set on fire. Then Israel will take possession of his possessors, says Yahweh. Now this is looking forward to the day when Messiah returns and crushes the enemies of Israel. Like in Isaiah 14, the first 7 verses. It says, when Yahweh will have compassion on Jacob, and again choose Israel, and settle them in their own land, then strangers will join them and attach themselves to the house of Jacob. Hello, strangers. And the peoples will take them along and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel will possess them as an inheritance in the land of Yahweh, as male servants and female servants. And they'll take their captors captive and will rule over their oppressors. And it will be in that day when Yahweh gives you rest from your pain and turmoil and harsh service in which you've been enslaved, that you'll take up this taunt against the king of Babylon and say, how the oppressor has ceased and how fury has ceased. Yahweh has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of rulers, which used to strike the people in fury and unceasing strokes, which subdued the nations in anger with unrestrained persecution. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and they break forth into shouts of joy. Now we go back to Jeremiah 49, verse 3. Wail, Heshbon, for Ai has been destroyed. Or it's Ai, I think it's Ai. Cry out, O daughters of Rabbah. Gird yourselves with sackcloth and lament, and rush back and forth inside the walls, for Malcolm will go into exile together with his priests and his princes. How boastful you are about the valleys. Your valley is flowing away, O backsliding daughter who trusts in her treasures, saying, who will come against me? Behold, I'm going to bring terror upon you, declares Elohim, Yahweh of hosts, from all directions around you, and each of you will be driven out headlong, with no one to gather the fugitives together. Okay, Malcolm will go into exile together with his priests and princes. That's Molech. Excuse me. Another name for Molech is Malcolm. And Elohim's going to use Babylon to judge Ammon also in the same way as Moab. Verse 6, but afterward I will restore the fortunes of the sons of Ammon, declares Yahweh. And there we go again. Same thing, the Ammonites are prospering as part of that conglomerate that makes up the Arab people, just like he says he would do. It's the exact same thing Jeremiah prophesied about the Moabites. Right there, yet I will restore the fortunes of Moab in the latter days. That's a part of the Arab people. That's what happened. Verse 7 and 8, concerning Edom, thus says Yahweh of hosts, is there no longer any wisdom in Teman? Has good counsel been lost to the prudent? Has their wisdom decayed? Flee away, turn back, dwell in the depths, O inhabitants of Dedan. For I will bring the disaster of Esau upon him at the time I punish him. Now this passage about Edom, if you've ever read the little book of Obadiah, it's the only book in the Tanakh that's one chapter. It's all about the judgment of Edom. Verses 8 and 9 in Obadiah say, I will not, will I not in that day, declares Yahweh, destroy wise men from Edom and understanding from the mountain of Esau. Then your mighty men will be dismayed, O Teman, in order that everyone may be cut off from the mountain of Esau by slaughter. Yeah.
Is this where it's from the mountain that he said
Yes.
prophecy where the mountain is actually referring to
Yes.
not Israel?
Probably, yeah. That's a good point. It could be both, yeah. The mountain could be the kingdom. As a matter of fact, I'm sure it is. Okay? It's not just referring to one mountain in Edom. All right, it's referring to the whole nation. Verses 9 and 10. If grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave gleanings? If thieves came by night, would they destroy only until they had enough? But I've stripped Esau bare. I've uncovered his hiding places, so that he will not be able to conceal himself. His offspring has been destroyed along with his relatives and his neighbors, and he is no more. He says Esau is going to be stripped so bare. There's going to be left less of them than there are grapes on the vines after the harvest. Okay? That's how bare they're going to be stripped. Verse 11, leave your orphans behind. I'll keep them alive and let your widows trust in me. For thus says Yahweh, behold, those who are not sentenced to drink the cup will certainly drink it. And are you the one who will be completely acquitted? You will not be acquitted, but you will certainly drink it. For I've sworn by myself, declares Yahweh, that Basra will become an object of horror, a reproach, a ruin, and a curse, and its cities will become perpetual ruins. So now, remember you drink from the cup. What's that mean? Fun time? Party? No. That's the cup of the wrath of Yahweh. And it says here, even the widows and the orphans of Edom are going to drink of the cup of the wrath of Elohim. Basra is a city in Edom, by the way. Verse 14, I've heard a message from Yahweh. And an envoy is sent among the nations, saying, gather yourselves together and come against her and rise up for battle. For behold, I've made you small among the nations, despised among men. As for the terror of you, the arrogance of your heart has deceived you. O you who live in the clefts of the rock, who occupy the height of the hill. Though you make your nest as high as an eagle's, I'll bring you down from there, declares Yahweh. The arrogance of Edom has left them in a sense of false security. It's fooled them. They'll be destroyed quickly and thoroughly. Verse 17, and Edom will become an object of horror. Everyone who passes by it will be horrified and will hiss at all its wounds. Like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah with its neighbors, says Yahweh. No one will live there, nor will a son of man reside in it. Behold, one will come up like a lion from the thickets of the Jordan against a perennially watered pasture. For in an instant I shall make him run away from it, and whoever is chosen I shall appoint over it. For who is like me, and who will summon me into court? Who then is the shepherd who can stand against me? So the overthrow of Edom is going to be like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's going to be utterly devastating. Verse 20, therefore hear the plan of Yahweh which he has planned against Edom, and his purposes which he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely they will drag them off, even the little ones of the flock. Surely he will make their pasture desolate because of them. The earth has quaked at the noise of their downfall. There is an outcry. The noise of it has been heard at the Red Sea. Behold, he will mount up and swoop like an eagle, and spread his wings against Bozrah. And the hearts of the mighty men of Edom in that day will be like the heart of a woman in labor. Boy, that's the same description as the one given to Moab. It's the hearts of the fighting men are going to be turned into that of a woman in labor. I've seen my wife in labor 4 times. She was in no mood to fight. Yeah. But she was incapable of doing that which she was saying at the time. That's the whole point. It's their arrogance. It's their arrogance. In Jeremiah 48, verses 41 and 42, Kerioth has been captured and the strongholds have been seized, so that the hearts of the mighty men of Moab in that day will be like the heart of a woman in labor. It's just he's given them all the same heart. They can't fight. Moab will be destroyed from being a people because he's become arrogant toward Yahweh. It's the arrogance. It's the arrogance, and it's still there. That arrogance is still there. I just saw a short video of a woman talking in court whose husband was beaten to death by 4 Muslims. Okay, and the first one was pronounced guilty of first-degree murder. He was just the driver of the car. He didn't do anything. But as the widow talked about how she doesn't know 3 years later how she's going to live her life, how she's going to even live without her husband that she cherished so dearly, who was a lawyer, by the way, it's Minnesota or Michigan. She doesn't even know how she's going to live now. And it's been 3 years, how she can go on with life. And that Muslim stood there smiling and smirking while she was saying that. The judge almost did. The judge said, guilty, and I'm sentencing you to life imprisonment and 62 years before you're allowed to go on parole. He'll be 104 when he's allowed to ask for parole.
He's smiling too, and he's proud of what no one didn't kill her husband. He's basically killed her too.
Killed her too, that's right.
They send him to a country club prison, though.
No, not for that. It's the arrogance. It's the arrogance. They feel like they've done the right thing with their destruction. And they're taught in their religion that they are doing the right thing. Jeremiah 49, starting in verse 23, concerning Damascus, Hamath and Arpad are put to shame, for they've heard bad news. They're disheartened. There is anxiety by the sea. It cannot be calmed. Damascus has become helpless. She's turned away to flee, and panic has gripped her. Distress and pangs have taken hold of her like a woman in childbirth. How the city of praise has been deserted, the town of my joy. Damascus will be deserted. It was once a town of their joy, but not anymore. Verses 26 and 27. Therefore her young men will fall in her streets, and all the men of war will be silenced in that day, declares the Yahweh of hosts. And I shall set fire to the wall of Damascus, and it shall devour the fortified towers of Ben-Hadad. Damascus is going to be completely destroyed by the Chaldeans. Verse 28, concerning Kedar and the kingdoms of Hazor, which Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, defeated. Thus says Yahweh, arise, go up to Kedar and devastate the men of the east. They will take away their tents and their flocks. They'll carry off for themselves their tent curtains, all their goods and their camels, and they'll call out to one another, terror on every side. Run away, flee, dwell in the depths, O inhabitants of Hazor, declares Yahweh. For Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has formed a plan against you and devised a scheme against you. So Kedar and Hazor, they're going to be judged also. Verse 31, arise, go up against a nation which is at ease, which lives securely, declares Yahweh. It has no gates or bars, they dwell alone. And their camels will become plunder, and the multitude of their cattle for booty. And I shall scatter to all the winds those who cut the corners of their hair. And I shall bring their disaster from every side, declares Yahweh. And Hazor will become a haunt of jackals, a desolation forever. No one will live there, nor will a son of man reside in it. Well, Hazor, as well as Kedar, with which it's joined, they're situated in Arabia. You could get the hint there that because of the camels and stuff like that. And it was a place of considerable importance, but now it's no more. Its very names seem to have perished in Arabia. They were not promised restoration. You don't find that here, like some of these other nations. Verse 34, that which came as the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah, the prophet, concerning Elam, at the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, saying, thus says the Yahweh of hosts, behold, I'm going to break the bow of Elam, the finest of their might. And I shall bring upon Elam the four winds from the four ends of heaven, and shall scatter them to all these winds. And there will be no nation to which the outcasts of Elam will not go. So Elam is going to be scattered. And then to finish, verse 37, I shall shatter Elam before their enemies and before those who seek their lives. And I'll bring calamity upon them, even my fierce anger, declares Yahweh. And I shall send out the sword after them until I've consumed them. Then I shall set my throne in Elam, and I shall destroy out of it king and princes, declares Yahweh. But it will come about in the last days that I shall restore the fortunes of Elam, declares Yahweh. So Elam, Moab, Ammon, and Edom, they're going to be restored to prosperity in the last days as a part of the Muslim empire. Now, next week, what I'm going to do, we're going to take a look at Psalm 83. Okay, because we studied Ammon and Edom and Moab, and they're mentioned in Psalm 83. Now, Psalm 83 tells us what the 10 horns of the beast are made of. Okay, who they're made of. And those three nations are mentioned. Moab, Ammon, and Edom. Okay? That's 3 of the 10 that make up the beast of the last days. And by the way, that little horn that comes up speaking blasphemy, what was that? Anybody want to guess?
Muhammad.
Very good, Tom. Muhammad. And he's the one that actually made this Muslim empire a power. Okay? Speaking blasphemies, changing times and law. Sharia law. Now, but you got to look, though. Elam is not listed as part of the Arab beast. You know why? Because it doesn't become a part of the Arab beast.
Is that the one that he was being restored?
No? But yeah, it's going to be restored. This one is going to be restored. Elam. I shall restore the fortunes of Elam. But they're not mentioned in Psalm 83. You know why? Because they're not a part of the Arab beast. They're part of Persia, which is Iran. Look at the provinces of Iran. Okay? Khuzestan, the ziggurat of Khokhazanbil, Khuzestan was a magnificent structure of the Iranian Elamite Empire. The province of Khuzestan is one of the centers of ancient civilization based around Susa. French archaeologists such as Jacques de Morgan date the civilization here as far back as 8000 BC, don't believe it, with excavating areas such as Tal Ali Kosh. The first scale empire based here was that of the powerful 4th millennium BCE Elamites, a non-Semitic kingdom independent of Mesopotamia. Archaeological ruins verify the entire province of Khuzestan to be the home of the Elamite civilization. In previous ages, Iranians referred to Khuzestan as Elam, and historically, historians refer to this province as ancient Elam, whose capital was in Susa. So they're not a part of the Arab beast, but they're a part of the Muslim empire. And what we're going to look at is Daniel 7, along with Psalm 83, and I want to tie this Edom, Moab, and everything all together here and show you where they're at now, what their plan is, and what's going to happen. So, next Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday we'll finish up Jeremiah.
Daniel 7 and what?
Daniel 7 and Psalm 83. Everything we just read in Jeremiah 48 and 49 came true to a T. Everything. And it's true today. The ones he said that would be that would come back and be have their fortunes restored, that's exactly what happened. When it doesn't say that, they disappeared. Any questions? Any thoughts? See, these two chapters, so a lot of people look at them very lightly. Oh, well, Moab, Edom, who cares? Ammon, never heard of them. No, they're very important stuff. And they're alive and well today. Just a part of the religion of peace.
It's like these were the seeds. That's what it is.
That's right, those are the seeds that grew. That's exactly right. And the seeds first got scattered when Israel went into that promised land and did not destroy them like they were supposed to. That first scattered the seeds of problems that we see today.
Yeah, it's a good-looking woman. You guys couldn't resist, right? Wasn't it the woman they let survive, and she had a son? She was one of the bad ones. She went out on her, right?
I need a Tom interpreter here. Do we have a Tom?
Talking about Ishmael.
Ishmael?
Yeah,
Yeah, Ishmael. Okay, you're talking about Hagar,
yeah.
which was the
The
yeah,
maid
of Abraham. That was the maid of
Rebecca.
no, Rebecca was Isaac. Sarah. Sarah, and yeah, that was her handmaid, and she had a little boy, and they were cast out. Yeah, very good, Tom.
I'm slow.
Well, that's it's catching. It's catching. That's good. Okay, let's pray and we'll be dismissed. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time together once again to study your word. We pray as we go along for a greater understanding of how your word is taking shape today. We praise your name and pray that you be glorified as we look forward to your Sabbath, which is just a little bit away. This we pray as your humble servants. Amen.